Alright. Welcome back to the Cove from all parts of the world who gathered here today to witness me basically saying I'm sorry for the past 2 days or day or I don't know how long it's been because I haven't, but like what happened the last 2 days, I wasn't feeling a story. Like I have to, I don't decide what story I'm going to do. I have to feel what story I want to do. Like, I could feel I want to do this story at the beginning of the day, to not feel like I want to do a story at all by the end of it. Like, right now, it's 4:30, and I decided, well, I might as well just do the Ermac one. But those who like the other ones, don't worry, they're gonna happen. I don't know about the older ones, because, yeah, I don't feel like redoing shit. But besides that, yeah. I'm back. My bad. And I can't guarantee it won't happen. Like a hiatus won't happen again, because you never know. Shit happens. Besides that, yeah, let's get back into it. Where I left off last time was after the USJ, when Ermac basically crushed the Nomu into a ball. Yeah, that's exactly where I left off. Now, how am I gonna do this? Okay, so as we all know, Deku passed out. Now, upon him passing out, he's met by different staff members and students, basically seeing if he was alright. And as I said, within a half an hour, he wakes up, and they realize, due to his, he wasn't injured at all, it's just he, exhausted his stamina, as evident as it should be. So after this, there was nothing, they realized there was nothing severe, and he was free to go. Now, when the news reports on the USJ incident, Aizawa takes the front of it, even though he's injured, and because they don't want Deku to be in the spotlight. No, not the fact that it's basically they don't want him to get the recognition because it's too early in his career, and they say it could fuck him over in the long run, but it really won't. So, matter of fact, fuck that. Basically, Aizawa isn't an attention whore, so he just says I wasn't the one who really saved everyone. I did most of the work, but this kid, this young hero named Ermac saved me. And that, as soon as he says it, basically he comes walking out the door from the USJ. Not the USJ. Ermac gets, wait, no, this will be actually, yeah, it will be the week after USJ, because the news will be flooding in, and they'd how do I say this? As though I had no choice but to answer questions, and after all this happens, because they're in the cafeteria still. Damn, I forgot who this nigga's ship was. It don't even fucking matter. It really doesn't right now. I'll probably go into the freaking things to see. But anyway, because of the whole commotion, we know how a few news reporters skipped in, and the whole school went into a panic. But before this, I'm gonna go into before this, as in the lunch table. Now, at the lunch table, we got Deku still with the Nomu ball in his hand. Because he knows he can untangle it, but he's basically the four of them are deciding who's gonna keep control of the Nomu, or they can take turns just passing in and out of it. Because as I stated before, it's not sentient. It's just a host for quirks. So if Ermac, Smoke, or Sub-Zero want to go into the Nomu, they easily could and come out. It's just the Nomu would basically act as a body for them. That being said, they're deciding who's gonna do it, and if the Nomu is still volatile to act out. They haven't tested it yet because they're they want to give Deku more time to prepare, basically, just in case. Because once you because magic exhaustion is how it is in shows and anime, and it's think of Naruto chakra exhaustion. It's like that, except for the fact that you're not dying, you're just passing out. So, like, at the lunch table, like, he's sitting there with a ball, like, it looks like a huge, like, ball in his hand, but, like, he knows it's the Nomu. It's just the Nomu can't regenerate because, he's been crushed so many times that he really can't right now. So I say a couple people ask him like what's the ball for, and he just says like, "Oh, it's a stress ball," and he just squeezes it, acting like it is, knowing it isn't. And everyone's just saying like, "Oh, okay." And as he's thinking about this, the alarm for the school goes off, and everything, everything from that like the whole school goes into a panic, or everyone in the cafeteria starts going into a panic. I'm jumbling up my words, my bad. Goes into a panic. In this panic and chaos, like most of Deku's classmates are like swept away, except for Ochako, who like was smart enough to levitate herself, and Ermac, who levitated himself as well. But instead of having the ball in his hand, looking like an actual like he realized like beforehand, if he went up and held the ball in his hand, he'd look like a wizard or a mage. So matter of fact, no, he kept the ball in his hand, but instead of like having the whole school like panic and try to run, he basically like because he knew like he'd be mostly exhausted after this, but he took the risk. He risked it for a biscuit. He basically like used like his like I don't even know what to call it at this point because like it was like me and the other Red Hand members talked about it, and like is Ermac's like is not really his it's magic, but it isn't. It's more like he's using soul energy. But I don't know what to call it. So basically, I'm gonna just say he uses his quirk because it's easier like that, even though it isn't. He uses his quirk and basically like stops everyone and lifts and basically that turns everyone's attention to him. And he says like because of because of a recent incident, that's probably just the news that came in, not a villain. So can everyone please stay calm? And then he further reiterated that if I let go, I'm not letting go until all you calm down and go back to your seats. And after 10 minutes, the whole area is basically calm, and he says, "All right, thank you." And everyone, he lets go of the spell, and everyone who wasn't, I mean, who was panicking, basically goes back to their seats, and like Deku almost passes out from exhaustion, but Ochako catches him in the air because mind you, don't forget she was in the air too, right next to him. So she catches him, and they both land together, and she carries him back to the table. And within like a minute of that within 5 minutes, Nezu comes on the announcement and says it was just the reporters. Some of them had snuck in through security, knowing damn well that didn't happen. There was actually this is me, like this is out of character, and I know I'm gonna start doing this. News reporters didn't break in. Someone fucked something up in there from the League of Villains and allowed someone to sniff around in there. There's no way possible that a news reporter can just break into a school with heavy security and all that. Everyone knew there was a rat in 1A, just no one knew who. Even Nezu didn't know who. That's how good that nigga was. But I digress. And basically he lets them know, Nezu lets them know that it was just the news. Everyone can remain calm. Like the whole situation has been sorted out. And I'm gonna say, like, that's pretty much it, except for like Deku being approached by many people, basically saying thank you for calming the whole situation. And Deku's still like kind of exhausted. He says no problem, but like he can barely move. So it's like he's sitting there, like his lunch isn't even on the table. He just seems like he's about to like fall asleep. So he basically says like before people leave, he says, "My bad if I came off rude. I'm just like, because of what just happened, I'm like extremely tired right now. So could you leave me for like a good half an hour?" And for the half an hour, I'm gonna say Deku, he doesn't fall asleep. It's like as I stated before, he never falls asleep. He just goes into like the whatever you call it, the mindscape with fucking Sub-Zero, Smoke, and Ermac. And here's where things get interesting, because after half an hour when he wakes up, he heads back to class, and like it's the same day that they were trying to figure out who will be the class president and class rep, and there was no argument who was going to be. They all voted for Deku, even Ida. So yeah, like that's basically what happens. Deku's now a class rep, and Momo is basically his second in command. And with that, Ermac's army has begun. I'm fucking joking. This dude, yeah, he's been the spy all. He's been the spy all along. He's been the spy all along. You fucking wish. Anyway, because like after that, basically he has to he doesn't mind dealing with stuff like that because he can't fucking sleep. So, like upon taking responsibility, he brings in Ida as a third member to help him with the paperwork just in case, because Ida is good at being class president, even though he's dumb as shit sometimes when it comes to things. So now we all know what we're waiting for. The tuning exams. The tuning exams. The fucking tuning exams. Because I was thinking of Naruto, because I was playing Storm 4 recently. Fucking the tuning exams. What the fuck is it called? You know what I'm talking about. The hero exams, yeah. Now, everyone's favorite one was the hero exams. I'm gonna say, because of recent events, they put it in 2 weeks instead of 1 week. But in the week before, they got the dormitories ready. So just in case something happened, they know where the students are. So, but they're not fully ready. So they wanted to ask someone they trust, in 1A, which is who, Ermac, to head the stay in the dormitory and test how everything works for a week. And they let his mother know, and his mother had no problem with it, because mind you, he has Sub-Zero, fucking Smoke. Why do I always forget Smoke? And Ermac. And to the person who said, can you hear Raiden and Saibot? He can't hear them, but as I stated before, if any Mortal Kombat characters die, they basically go to Deku. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They just flow straight to Deku. So if another Mortal Kombat character dies, it will be added straight to him. And yeah. So that means I could add a shit ton of characters for Mortal Kombat 9. And this is me getting off topic again, but think about it. All the characters who didn't come back, the original Nightwolf, Striker, and a few other people. Sindel can be added to that list. Shao Kahn? No, Shao Kahn. No, absolutely not. Quan Chi. A whole bunch of people can. Baraka, Melina. That's a scary amount of people I can add to the whole mindset. But that's too many Mortal Kombat characters to go over. So, and I'm too lazy to do it. But if I do feel like I do need to, I will add all the cast members that have died. It's just gonna take a minute of research. So yeah, that's to the guy who said to Saibot and Raiden. And Raiden won't, and mind you, in every one of them, because Raiden took Shinnok's place basically as an Elder God in Mortal Kombat, in my opinion. He basically cannot die. So if Raiden ever is in one of these, it's basically he's coming to correct some shit that needs to be corrected. back to the story because I went off topic. And yeah, time for the heroes. The hero. I almost said hero exams. That's a while away. If you know what I'm talking about, the Hero Coliseum from Xenoverse 2. So, I'm gonna say as like I'm getting back to where I was. My bad. In the week before, like Deku stays in the building with, by himself. That basically testing everything. And that same day, because he moved his stuff in, he also still has that balled up Nomu, and like he knows that he has alone time with it now. He basically like decides to split it into like separate parts, which in turn be the bodies for Ermac, Smoke, and Sub Zero. And yes, they do have their powers, but they're to a lesser degree. Because I'm not about to have Smoke being able to disappear to smoke and throw people. Ermac does not have. Ermac has the fighting capability, but his magic is severely lessened because all of it is in Deku, pretty much. And Sub-Zero is the same, pretty much. Like, because Sub-Zero is Sub-Zero. They basically, like, because they can edit their bodies to how they like them, like, they all do it, and basically they say, like, okay, well, thank you for our new bodies, and they start stretching out in them. And Deku basically says, like, that took a lot of energy because I had to bring the Nomu up, and split it into 3 different parts, and have it regenerate. So trust me, that took a lot of time and effort for us to think of that. But I'm glad we did because that was actually a pretty smart idea. And basically, like, because how they thought of it, they said, like, we can basically be summoned into these in these bodies, but you can also, like, have them in, like, small form and carry them around with you. So just in case you need backup, or if you're ever exhausted, you can basically, like, pop one of us out, and we can assist. So I'm gonna say like a day or two passes by, and I'm gonna say he gets a knock on the door. This isn't by Nezu though. I'm gonna say it's from Ochako. Yeah, Ochako. Why not? Basically, she's basically saying like, she's saying that she was asked to be helped with the girls' side of the dorm, and Deku, because he wasn't expecting company, so Ermac, Smoke, and Sub-Zero still running about fixing shit. And basically, like, it's like the Scott Pilgrim. It's like, if you ever watch the movie Scott Pilgrim, you'll know what's going on. Like, they're all like running, like Deku's keeping like Ochako out of view of them 3 as they like run around and prepare the room, and they're all like slipping and falling and doing dumb shit. So all you hear is like the regular cartoony shit, glass breaking and shit, and they're all fixing it. But I'm gonna say, because like I like plot, Sub-Zero like trips over the couch. Steps his toe on the couch, falls over and breaks a table. Smoke cleans like and Smoke and Ermac are fine. They just like tidy up. But because because Sub-Zero broke the table, he used his ice to make a new basically glass frame, and also like because he didn't mind the decorations, he kind of iced a few other things to make it look kind of cool. So when Ochako comes in the room, like because the room didn't have AC at the time, that table is like a built-in AC and has basically cooled down the room. And when she walks in, she says, "Ooh, you have an AC in here?" And Deku was about to say no. There, Sub-Zero said, "My bad, bro. I broke the." He said, "My bad. I broke the table. That's my ice. That's basically cool in the room." Now he said, "Yes, I actually do. Actually, it's not mine per se. It's the school's pretty much." basically just lied his ass off. It's just he went with it because Sub-Zero said, like, yeah, I'm basically, like, that table is the AC in this fucking room. So he's basically giving her the grand tour of the boys' side and the girls' side. And, like, it's a coincidence, but the rooms are, like, like, they run across from each other, but they're on, like, you know, not different floors. What the fuck is it called? Different hallways. So it's like, no, fuck it. They're like, because the girl and boys dorm, like they run like they're like across the hallway from each other. The right side is the boys, the left side is the girls. So their rooms are like right across from each other. No, actually, yeah, because he's the president. His is way at the like end. So you got Momo in Ochako's room. Like Momo's is in front of his door, and then Ochako's is the next door over. So, and they had their names marked on the doors, so, like, shit wouldn't get confused. So anyway, after showing them around, like, Deku decides that he's gonna make dinner. And mind you, Smoke and Sub-Zero and them, like, are still running about. They're just in the shadows, creeping around, because they're ninja. They're fucking Lin Kuei. And they basically, like, as I said, they basically like been moving around fixing things, and I must say like one of them fucks up, which is rare, like because Sub-Zero been on a rampage all day of fucking up because he's still getting used to the body. I must say during when he was sneaking around, he basically like falls and breaks something. Ochako gets scared, thinking it's a rat, and basically says he goes to Deku for help. Ermac Deku kicks open the door and says, "What was wrong?" And basically, all she sees is Sub-Zero basically transform into an ice rat, basically trying to keep himself from, A, getting discovered, and B, getting his shit rocked by Ochako, because no one fucks with rats. And Deku basically has to act like he kills the rat, but instead, he basically, like, squishes the body, which is Sub-Zero basically iced himself and put it into a rat form, and basically like, and Deku act like that was the rat, and basically said like, all right, I'm about to get rid of the rat, and Sub-Zero just transformed, like, uniced himself and transformed back into the Nomu and said that was close, and basically Deku says, and you are dumb as shit. How did you fall? You're a Lin Kuei. You're the Grand Master of the Lin Kuei. Explain that shit. You fell through the fucking ceiling into her fucking room. Understood if it was mine, but what the fuck are you doing over her room? And he basically says like, my bad. I just had to check on a couple things. He was like, what, the AC? And basically what Deku says, he says, no. Like, maybe. And Deku says, wait, fucking what? We had AC the entire time? It's just been on the fritz? And Sub-Zero says, that may have been my fault. And Deku says, oh, fucking how? How? And Sub-Zero says, well, I like the cold, so... And Deku says, just say no fucking more. Please, because I'm 2 steps away from, like, putting you back in my body and choking that Nomu's body out. And Sub-Zero disappears. And because I want to add a new character in, because it's funny as shit, I'm going to say Hanzo Sashi, aka Scorpion, magically fucking dies. Somehow. And in the middle of all that commotion, with, like, Sub-Zero and Deku basically talking, like, Deku gets hit in the back with, like, a huge soul, and basically, like, slumps over a little bit. And he feels a burning sensation. And he now, like, because it's, like, feels like heartburn, Deku, like, has his arm crossed across his chest, and is on his knees, basically telling Sub-Zero to freeze him, because, like, his whole body feels like it's on fire. And Sub-Zero got that, and he says, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And basically, like, he freezes. I mean, he basically like chills Deku out a little bit. Like he like covers him in ice, but not enough to freeze him. And then and then Deku walks back to his room and basically tells like Raka, like, yeah, I'm not feeling so good, so go ahead and have dinner without me. In in the room, he basically calls like Ermac and Smoke back, and they they all enter Deku's freaking mindscape, and they realize Scorpion is there, and him and mind you, Scorpion and Sub-Zero still have beef, so it's on site. And the second they lock eyes, these niggas started beefing. I'm glad it wasn't in the Nobu body because these two just started throwing hands. It was like Mortal Kombat 9 and 10 in there. Like these, like freaking Ermac and Smoke will try to break them up. These two will break and try to like fight each other constantly to the point where Deku said, "Stop it, please! Like I'm getting a fucking headache from all this freaking. Get over here!" And basically throwing ice balls and shit to the point where he's basically like in the Mindscape you have unlimited amount of like magic. So Deku basically like lifts both of his arms and stops them and says, "Look, I know you two. I know the two clans still get along, but please, like at least like because you're dead and he's dead, you can't kill each other here. I'm the only person who can die here. So can you please stop before I die of a headache and you guys go somewhere worse?" And basically like they like agree to a truce, and like the whole thing happens. Swordman introduces himself and is all history from there. I'm gonna say after that a week passes so I can get the examination over with. So basically after a week Scorpion has been there, he's gotten used to like the whole thing of like he needs to wait his turn for a fucking body, and or the fact that he has died basically in Mortal Kombat. And as such, like he's not as such like they all get along to an extent. He really gets along with Ermac though because Ermac isn't a Lin Kuei, but he doesn't mind Smoke because as Smoke has stated in Mortal Kombat 9, it's always smoke before fire. And Hanzo was like, that's true as well. But Sub-Zero, them two need to work some things out. They aren't on the best of terms, but they're on okay terms. Like even in like Mortal Kombat 9 and I mean 10 and 11, they still have like they still don't like each other, but they tolerate each other because they know like if they get into like a huge freaking war again, it ain't gonna turn out good. But yeah, now it's time for the hero exam. So in this hero exam, as we know, it's the basic courses, but instead of like Deku doesn't know anything of it, so he's still here. So he's still like doing the everyday thing until like they let them know a couple days before like there's gonna be a hero basically tournament going now. I never can remember the exact name for it, and that's my bad because mind you, I know everything that happens. It's just I don't remember the exact names for it, and I read the manga too, or I'm gonna catch up with it pretty soon. So like I know what happens. It's just like I don't remember the exact names for stuff like this. So yeah, like Deku gets everything ready, as in like a speech and stuff, because he knows he's probably gonna end up presenting at the damn thing. So when it's all said and done, I'm gonna say it's the day of the tournament now. The fucking tournament of power, pretty much. My eyes are dry. Wait, give me a second. What time is it? Okay, it's almost 5. I'm gonna go for a little while longer because I want to get this way. So that being said, after preparing a speech and all that, because like he's the class rep and he got number 1 in like the whole freaking examination thing, he has to like present. He has to present a speech. So, like, I'm gonna say it's the day of the exam and in the morning of it. Like, because Ochako does have a habit of waking up later because she's pretty much at the school. Deku basically has to knock on the door and wake her up, and for this fucking day, she fell asleep leaving her door a little bit cracked. So when Deku goes to wake her up, he accidentally he goes to knock on the door, and the door opens slightly, and there he sees a sleeping Ochako, damn near in a nude, and he basically like he looks, and then it's the funniest shit because it's like he peeks in, sees that, and you now look where like a person's like, damn. He basically like looks like that, and freaking like all like Smoke, Ermac, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero are all sitting there like the same thing, like, damn, she dumb thick right now. She dumb thick, and then he says like, no, I can't think of that right now, and basically closes the door and basically knocks on it, basically telling her like it's time to get up because you got shit to do. And like, from there she wakes up. Deku has breakfast made and all that, and the day goes on. But as time flies, basically, he's not gonna tell like Ochako what he's seen, because how do you tell someone that they are so sleepy that they walked into the room, forgot to close the door fully, and you just seen them like that? You don't say that. It's just like open the whole door for some bullshit to happen. So it's as I said, it's fast forwarding to the hero exam, and Deku's mom is watching, which is Inko. And mind you, this is like, it's not like chubby Inko. This is like young, like still looks like younger Inko, where she's like fit and all that, and she's rooting for Deku or Ermac or whatever the hell you want to call him. And because of many circumstances, Ermac presents first, because you save someone in the fucking USJ. You're the first in Heroes versus Villains and all that shit. So he goes up to present, basically, and instead of him presenting like with everyone in attention, the two dickheads in 1B, as we all know, loudmouth and oh, my quirk is horrible, like start talking shit basically as he's talking. And in the middle of one of his sentences, like he hears like them say some sly shit, and he basically like says, "Hey, can you two please shut the fuck up as I'm talking?" And they took offense to that, as everyone does. And mind you, the one who basically like talks the most shit was basically saying, "Oh," and he says, "Oh, and look at you sitting up there like talking shit for someone who isn't in fighting distance." And Shinso basically like just sitting there looking like, oh, he can't really talk shit to me. I can brainwash his ass in a few seconds. Deku, however, like gets that look and vibe from both of them, and it's mainly what the blonde guy said. He says okay, and basically like with his magic, he picks him up and brings him towards him and says, "I'm in fighting distance now." And we don't have to wait for this whole thing to be over. We can do this right here, right now. It's just going to end the same way. Your ass being in the ground and me probably going to jail. And then he just basically like puts him on the stage and says, "Now seeing as you want to be an attention whore, now you got all the attention. So what now?" And this is when Deku like starts cracking his knuckles. And basically like President Mike and them actually stop Deku from actually beating the fuck out of him. Because Deku would have walked his ass. I mean, like, there was no point. It was like Naruto versus Konohamaru. Like, there was no way he was ever gonna win that fight a day in his life. he would have he would have dragged his ass from the beginning of the race to the end of it, pretty much. So after that, the whole stadium gets fired up because they realize like some shit was about to go down, and it's barely even the beginning. So they know shit about to they know shit about to be cool. I mean, pretty good, or how the fuck you want to put it. I'm not a fucking dictionary here. And as like stated, like Deku leads off in everything pretty much. Like in the race, like nothing really exciting happens besides the fact that when it was like the 0 point robot basically showed up, Deku didn't like crush it again. Like because he realized that if I do that, I'm gonna be exhausted. I mean, I'll still get first place, but I really have no time to rest. Nor can he summon like smoke in them because it'll be seen as cheating. So he just like all he does is basically float over the machines, and like the whole course he basically floats until he gets first place. So that's the end of the first thing. The only thing notable happens is that Bakugo gets pissed at him because he's just floating across everything, which is bullshit because Bakugo is basically doing the same shit. Like Todoroki is more competitive than usual because he's sitting there like, how the fuck is he doing that? I could just run across the minefield pretty much and make Bakugo slip and fuck him up. And everything else happens in canon. And now I think about it, like this is still on topic. Deku sees Mineta holding on to like Momo, and he actually like gives him the, like that Black Star and shit look at disgust when they see Excalibur. He sees that and basically like picks Mineta off of Momo's shirt, and throws him back to the beginning of the course into the 0 point robot. Basically saying like you cheated your ass off, do that shit again. And Mineta basically does the whole course by him fucking self because of the fact that Deku's Deku basically called him out on that shit. Like he didn't even pass the finish line. Deku's seen that shit and just like freaking baseball chucked his ass back to the beginning into the 0 pointer. So Mineta gets like last place and gets eliminated. Oh yeah, same shit happens in canon. Like 1,000,000 points. The only people who's on Deku team is freaking. I'm not rushing it. It's just that it's gonna happen. Is the only thing that's gonna happen is like whoever's on Deku's team, which is gonna be Ochako, Momo, and like this, and the freaking mechanic girl, and all he does is basically like say, "I'm gonna hold the points. I'm gonna just lift us all up to victory," which he does. Like he didn't like he wasn't lying. That's all he did was use his magic and float them up for about 10 minutes or however long the exam is. And mind you, because you're first seed, you don't have to deal with much. I'm tired.
Did they say what time they're leaving?
No.
I'm guessing Chris gonna have mom up early in the morning.
It don't matter. I gotta finish this shit.
Did he tell you who it was?
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna stop that. I'm not gonna edit it or anything. I'm just gonna let that just sit in because nothing important was discussed. Really. And I don't feel like cutting that out just to use a different app and do this fucking do it and then all that because I'm lazy as shit right now. Anyway, because I'm trying to get this shit done before I go to sleep. What happens is that Deku sits out first round, but you know how everything else runs. And because of the bullshit that happens, like, let's see, what's the bullshit? It's the same shit in canon, besides the fact that, actually, as I said, it's the same bullshit in canon, actually. Deku versus the nigga who can brainwash people. And Deku doesn't know his quirk, but Deku isn't notorious for talking shit, so, like, upon entering the arena, he basically, like, just floats in. What about? I'm getting, like, more and more tired, but I'm still gonna finish the story. Deku floats in the arena while Shinso walks in. And Shinso basically starts, like, doing the same shitty ass, like, speech about how his quirk sucks. When, in all, his quirk is amazing. He just doesn't know how to use it for the right thing. Like, he could be an excellent detective or interrogator. He just doesn't realize that shit. Which is, like, really retarded of him. And Deku doesn't say shit. He just looks at him. And gives him that look like, dude, I really don't care. And because he's thinking the same shit, like, even, like, all four of them are thinking it. I mean, all five of them now are like, he could be a, like, damn good detective or cop. He just doesn't want to do it. And then, like, he says some bullshit, and then he continues on with this bullshit, and Deku's just sitting there with his arms crossed, just looking at him. And then he was like, and that's why your mom, and then he's like, all right, hold it right there. And that's what Shinso says, gotcha, bitch. And basically, like, brainwashes Deku. And he thinks shit's sweet. But as soon as he brainwashes him, like, you know what happens. This nigga goes into his mind and sees these four goons. Ermac, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Smoke. And it was open season for his ass. They just jumped the fuck out of him. There's no words to how bad that shit was. Like, think of freaking... They hit him with the stupid combos. Like, Ermac would pick him up and have him, like, looking like he was in Tsukuyomi, while Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Smoke just beat the shit out of him. They used him as, like, they used him as a punching bag. Slammed him, threw him, and did all they could. To the point where, like, when the brainwashing, like, was off, Shinso basically, like, passed out in the ring and was foaming at the mouth because of how much his psyche was damaged because of the fact that four niggas just jumped him for, like, how long it is in his mindscape. And Deku's pronounced the winner because, like, Shinso was unconscious. And to everyone else's eyes, it looked like Deku didn't have to do anything to win. Just Shinso passed out. But we all know what happened. Them four got the jump in that nigga. And it is cold as shit in this kitchen. I really don't want to leave this on a cliffhanger, but I need to remember who else fought. Oh yeah. Everything goes the same in canon, my bad. Besides the fact that the guy who was talking shit, like, comes... Like, that's the dude Deku's fighting next besides Todoroki. So, he basically walks back out. I mean, next fight, like, he walks out against, like, Deku. And mind you, Deku, like, decides to do a flashy ass entrance because this nigga pissed him off to a point that he deserves it. This nigga Deku, because he's in the waiting room, like, everyone knows that. This dude opens a portal, like, up below it with, like, green and shit and has, like, souls, like, they're coming out. He just, like, floats up out of it and basically, like, gives basically with his arms crossed and like floating there, like who summoned me to this bullshit. And everyone like sitting there looking at it like, what the fuck? Because mind you, when you see a portal open and green like soul looking things start flying out and you can see it clearly on TV, you either think A, that's special effects, or B, this dude is just killed like too many people. And everyone thought it was B. And like even Aizawa and shit was Aizawa explained like that's his quirk. Like his like they named it like green, they named it green like whatever the hell it is, like green magic. He basically just it's basically he just said like to calm people down, it's just an illusion. That shit wasn't an illusion. Like that was like the 5 people who flew out was legit like all the people inside of his head. They were that he just enlarged their spirits, and they flew back into him like small. And then he lands in the ring, and just looks. I can never remember that blonde guy's like because he's an asshole. I can never remember his name, and he's just looking down on him as he's floating. And when he says "Let the match begin," you know how the blonde guy is. He talks his shit, and Deku like he really wasn't having it, and he said like, "Yeah, like you had your chance to fight me fair and square when we were on the fucking like when we were on the fucking podium in front of everyone, and now this isn't the time for ones." Basically, picks him with the magic and just throws him to the wall, full speed. Like he threw him so hard he left a cave in the wall, and they had to basically like use like cement had to physically push like use 3 walls to push him out of the wall, and that guy was out. Like Deku had no time for his ass. Like he had no patience. He was like, that's basically all Deku said was, "All right, yeah, whatever," and basically just grabbed him and threw him out the ring. And when he went to leave, he basically like floated down back to the same portal he came up in. And like that, everyone realized that A, he just threw this nigga out of the ring, no competition, and B, that he didn't stand a chance, not a chance about how much shit he was talking. And C, everyone realized that when he said like we can fight right now on the podium, he meant a fist fight. Like legit, he was not gonna use a quirk at all. He was about to give this man the hands, but because he didn't want the hands at that point, he just straight up just gave him the magic and just said "fuck off." So that's how that one ends. And yada yada. Here comes Todoroki, and the same thing happens in the hallway, but this time because it's Ermac, and because of many things. Obviously, Endeavor basically approaches Ermac on the subject of having Todoroki use his fire. As you know, like how the story, how it goes with like how freaking Endeavor approached Deku, but it's not the same. Like Endeavor approaches Ermac and basically tells him like the whole story behind like him not using his like fire side, and like Deku basically, I mean Ermac basically says like, yeah, about that, dude. I really honestly don't give a flying fuck, and that's my honest opinion about that. So fuck you and fuck whatever quirk you have. It's his quirk. He can choose if he wants to use the fire side or not. It's up to him. But anyway, yeah, fuck you and fuck whatever you stand for because I just don't care. And Endeavor basically lights up the hallway, and Deku basically says, "Aw, that's cute," and pulls out Sub-Zero, and Sub-Zero freezes the hallway and freezes Endeavor. And Deku's just and Ermac's just floating on top of him like, "Aw, you actually thought you were doing shit with that puny ass fire," and basically like unthaws the hallway and basically floats away. And this is when like Deku like basically floats into the ring, and like when Cementos was going through the whole thing, basically Deku tells Todoroki like basically like gives him like the small spiel, like that's like the fire side of that if your quirk is basically yours, not his. Just because he is your father doesn't mean that's his quirk. Technically, that is yours now, along with your ice side, which is your mother's, and she passed it down to you. And Todoroki still didn't want to use the fire side, and Deku basically says like, "I'm not forcing you to use it. It's just I recommend it." And Todoroki got pissed because he's like, "And who told you about my fire site?" And shoots ice at Deku. Deku just deflects it like it's nothing and says, like, "Your dad did," and he's frozen in the hallway. And he's in the hallway sleep. And, like, Todoroki's just looking at him like, "Sleep? What the fuck do you mean he's sleep?" And, like, and then Deku says, like, "Yeah, he tried to approach me on some rah-rah shit, and I basically slid him. Because of the fact that he tried to set the hallway on fire." Fire hazard, by the way. But anyway, yeah. I basically went through the spirit, like, he explained to me everything, and I even told him, like, I just don't give a fuck about that, because it's your quirk. And Todoroki was like, no one has ever really slid my dad before. And then came out here and said to me, like, it's your quirk. So, like, he still tries to fight Deku with the ice, and Deku says, like, and Ermac basically says, like, I understand you don't want to use the fire, but it's up to you. But if you, like, do you want a fist fight, or do you want, like, a quirk fight? And Todoroki basically says, like, quirk fight, why not? Deku basically says, okay. And every time Todoroki would try to, like, make an ice thing around Deku would break it and basically, like, float or, like, run at Todoroki, trying to basically get in close range. And this happens for a while until, like, Deku gets bored of it, and when Todoroki, like, ice touches his leg, Deku, like, uses, like, the outer wall because, Deku, like, because of everything that's happened, there's walls around him. Deku uses that in, like, I almost said force grab. Uses his magic to grab Todoroki and throw him into the ice wall. Through the ice wall and out the arena, while his leg is frozen. And that's how that match ends, with Deku being on top because he basically, like, grabbed Todoroki with his magic and threw him out the arena. Which, actually, if you think about it, wasn't that bad of a move, because if he would have continued, Todoroki probably would have froze him completely. And Deku realized that and said, like, it's been fun and all, but yeah, you gotta go. And Todoroki wasn't mad at all. He was more, like, satisfied because he said, like, someone understood, like, what the hell, like, what I'm going through and tried to talk me into using my quirk. Even though I didn't want to, he said, like, I ain't forcing you, just saying. And he shed light on the situation. And here comes the final part, because, it had to happen. Bakugo versus, like, Ermac. And mind you, Ermac still, mind you, yeah, Deku still hates Bakugo. He just doesn't speak on it because there's no point. He knows he can, like, lay Bakugo out. And that's exactly what's about to happen. There's no bell. There's no, like, let the fight begin. It's straight up, as soon as Deku walks in the ring, he's just beating the shit out of Bakugo. Because he honestly hates him. So, as soon as he don't even give Bakugo a courtesy of, a cool entrance. He walks in the arena, cracks his knuckles, and basically continues to walk towards Bakugo. And Bakugo basically, like, Cemento says, let the match begin, because, Deku wasn't stopping walking. Bakugo thinks it's a good idea to rush in with explosions. All, like, Ermac does is deflect and just uppercut the shit out of him, grab him by his leg, and slam him chest first into the ground. And then, like, you know how Broly does the whole, like, Broly and Hulk do the slam thing? He does that, and then, like, almost throws Bakugo out the arena. Basically giving Bakugo the chance to defend himself before he runs over and punt kicks him out the arena into the wall. which he almost did, except Bakugo used an explosion to flip over and ready his attacks. Now in the coming, and mind you, in these attacks, he mixes in a flurry of explosions and kicks. Because of how much like Deku's been fighting, he easily deflects, dodges, and basically looks like he's activated Ultra Instinct and just beats and continues beating the shit out of Bakugo. And this goes on for about 5 minutes until Bakugo's black and blue, like his eyes are he has bruises all over, his eyes are damn near shut. And Deku basically says like, yeah, like I'm not trying to beat you to death. I'm just like here to teach you a lesson. And then Bakugo isn't hearing it, tries to attack him. Deku like ducks under his attack and hits him like if anyone ever watched One Piece, he hits him with like what Lucci hit freaking what is it called? Luffy with to the chest and basically like blows him out the arena into the wall, even further than he did the other blonde guy. And basically says like, I wasn't trying to beat the shit out of you. Hopefully you didn't die from that though, because yeah, you're kind of enveloped in that wall there. I probably should have held back more. And upon saying that, he stumbles a bit because you just like constantly use your powers. And mind you, that entrance took a bit of stamina. Like he's almost out, so he's like sitting there like stumbling and fidgeting back and forth. And that's pretty much how that arc ends. Like I'm sorry if I rushed it. It's just like I'm tired as well. Like I'm not as tired as I was in like the part 2, and it's been like 56 minutes. And knowing my phone, it's probably gonna stop it at like the hour mark. So I'm gonna leave this part here as like I enjoy it, and for those who like think I should add another character in, just remember that it has to be a character that makes sense. Like I added Scorpion in, but he's not gonna learn anything from Scorpion. Like Scorpion's just there to be like, okay, well, I can come and go because mind you, he's a revenant. He can go to hell and back. It's just he chose to be there for right now because he's leaving next episode. Trust me, because he has beef with like Sub-Zero and he's not trying to let that happen again. So he's leaving next episode. I just want to put him in real quick to let people know like if you die, you can actually come directly to Deku. And no, I'm not rolling the dice for who the hell dies and comes inside of him. That didn't sound right. Let me pause that. Who enters his body? But besides that, thank you for stopping by in the Cove from wherever you are in the world. If you enjoy, I was not about to do that. That's a gimme. Just like I hope you enjoy my stuff because as much as I enjoy doing this, like as much as it doesn't sound in my voice that I don't enjoy doing this, I actually do. Like the Jason one, the Predator one, and this one, I actually love these stories. I was gonna do a different one earlier, but it was like I got out of the mood of that one because that one was a fucked up one. But yeah, like as I said, thank you for stopping by, and yeah, like thank you for coming through. And I'll catch you guys next vid, hopefully.